Wow, Sina.
Another day, another dollar. I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm sane. I got it done. No playing, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too, it's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warned us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. I'm supposed to find my husband. Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26, so I gotta pay these student loans. That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. Just leave it in God's hands, cause that's adulting.
Hey classmates, welcome back to another episode of the School of Life podcast. Listen, I know I'm a little early, but I have to say happy early Mother's Day to all of the moms out there. I am not a mom yet, but the way that the moms hold the world down, and I say the world because y'all hold the entire world down, I just want to make sure I give y'all a shout out and just let you know that you are loved over here on the School of Life podcast. I want to give you your flowers. I'm sure you're going to get plenty for Mother's Day, but just thank you for being who you are. Listen, moms make the world go around. You heard it here first, period. I also want to acknowledge, though, those who may have an estranged relationship with their mom. I am one of those people, and so sometimes these holidays can be a lot of emotions going on, and I know I'm not alone. The commercialization of Mother's Day has become such a big thing. I think people like me kind of get just lost in the sauce of all the things, and so I just wanted to create a space this week to talk about those feelings and make sure that people like me know that they are not alone, and just kind of ways to deal with navigating the strange, dysfunctional, just weirdness that comes with the mother-daughter relationships that can be tarnished. Now, before I get into therapy, though, for us, y'all know the drill. Grab your note-taking tools because School of Life is now in session. So we all know that moms play a very important role in a girl's life, from development to our confidence to our communication skills, all the way down to how we are in romantic relationships. Like, moms are critical to that. Now, don't get me wrong, dads are too, but we're not talking about dads. We'll talk about them for Father's Day. Moms are the ones that really do that initial shaping because they are almost always the first women that we look up to. And so not having that or not having a strong relationship, with a mom creates, first of all, insecurity, which we just talked about last week in episode 43, but it also creates this sense of distrust. And I don't want to say distrust too lightly because that becomes so explosive in the real life. And I know that we miss out on things like having that mom to be there when we, let's say, get married or have children, or just day-to-day advice. You're dealing with a crazy coworker at work, and the first thing you're like, let me call my mom and see what she would do. You don't have that. You're missing those small little pieces that add up into a really, really, really big deal. And unfortunately, sometimes you get to the point where you just accept that it won't happen because if you're like me, you go without it for so long. But I want to talk about more specifically what accepting it looks like. And I want to also let you know it's not a bad thing. Let me start there. It's not a bad thing if you are someone who's like, look, girl, this is what it is. This is the relationship I have with my mom. It's estranged, it's dysfunctional, all the things. I get it. That is okay. No one can create those boundaries for you except for you. But what comes with that I like to talk about is a sense of forgiveness. Most times people think just because you've accepted it that you're still mad or, you're being bitter. When that's not the case, you have just gotten to a point of forgiveness. I know that was the case for me. It had been like 8 years. I'm like, I can't still be mad. I have to continue to live my life. I've forgiven my mom, and so we're going to move on, right? I also want to say, getting to that point comes with being thankful for what you do have. So I know myself and other people in similar situations were blessed with mom figures. Super, super big shout out to my godmom, Wendra Monet, as we like to call her, who has been amazing, and she always encourages me to leave the door open. I mean, that's a whole nother episode. I always say something is a whole nother episode, but I'm going to have to get her on here so we can talk about the dynamics of her stepping in as a mom figure. But in me accepting like all the things that my mom may not have could have been for me, I became extremely, extremely, extremely thankful for what I did have. And that included teachers, program managers, like so many people I've come across in my life just day to day who have in some way been a mom figure. I just show my gratitude and I express that gratitude because it just hits different. And if you know, you really do know. So there's this sense of forgiveness and there's this kind of peace in being thankful for what you do have. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still think about my mom and I, don't want those things. And same for you, like you probably still think about it and you still want those things. And there is nothing wrong with that. But I want to say, don't get hung up on it. And I think that's sometimes where we kind of misstep and we get ourselves in like a deep depression and we go down this cycle of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But unfortunately, we can't change that. We can't control that. Let's not get hung up on what could have been, right? So you may be wondering, girl, my feelings are so hurt. What you mean don't get hung up on it? I'm going to tell you how to not get hung up on it. Now, y'all know I said it's okay to have your boundaries and all the things. We just not gonna get hung up on it, right? Let's talk about how. For me, it's the fact that so much time has passed, and that could be the same thing for you. So much time has passed that you honestly just learn to live without that person, and with that comes growth. Now, if you are someone where the situation is still fresh and time has not passed, I want to encourage you to just embrace the feelings and be in those feelings. That's all you can do at that point. But if you're on the other side of that and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I not stay on this situation? How do I continue to live my life? You have to embrace the growth that time forces you to have, okay? Because time will force that. And in that growth, you almost become, not even almost, you become a new woman. I'll just say it. You do become a new woman. The growth is truly what has helped me view my relationship with my mom the way that I do. I view it so differently than I did about 6 years ago. And I want to share with you if you're navigating that. I want to share the perspectives that the growth breeded for me. The first one, I have learned how to give my mom grace. And this is also something that therapy has helped me with as well. But the time breeded the growth, which helped me, get to therapy and all the things. But giving your mom grace literally allows you to see her as a human being and not just your mom. So imagine this human being, we'll use my mom, for example, who was 19 years old, who had to bring an entire new life into the world, me. Right? I could not imagine, y'all, at 19 having to do that. And so when I got to that point, when I really kind of sat down and put that in perspective, I should say, I was like, you know what? I can give her all the grace in the world because she did the best that she could with what she had and with what she knew. And so I want to encourage you. The first thing with this new perspective, give your mom some grace. She deserves that grace. And I don't know the situation, or the circumstances of your relationship with your mom, But if it's like mine and your mom was a new mom, child, just give her grace. I cannot say I would have had a kid at 19, okay? I'm going to just go on record saying that. I'm glad I'm not 19. I couldn't even say that at like 25. It's crazy. And so in all of that thinking and talking with my therapist and growing in time, I have to acknowledge that time, helped me get to this point. Give your mom the grace. The second thing that I kind of learned from this time apart and giving her that grace and really working on myself is that forgiveness doesn't require reconnection. And so about 5 or 6 years into the situation was when I really forgave, like for real. I have an episode on forgiveness. I don't remember the number, but I'll link it in the show notes. And I talk about forgiveness being a journey that we have to stay on. And so with all the time that had passed, I truly got to a place where I said, you know what? Just because I forgave my mom, that doesn't mean that this relationship has to be repaired. I think early on, I thought the opposite. Like, if I forgive her, that means we need to do this and have a conversation and blah, 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 blah. And honestly, that wasn't the case because maybe she wasn't ready, maybe I wasn't ready. It just didn't happen. And so I had to get to the point, and time kind of forced me to see that forgiveness doesn't require reconnection. And most importantly, forgiveness is for you. I couldn't go on for the rest of my life being mad because that wouldn't have been healthy for me because I was the one, that was still mad. So the forgiveness piece is really important. And then the third thing that time allowed me to see, and this one is pretty new, and I'm still toying with it, I have to say, but apologies come in different forms. And how a person apologizes may not be conventional, but it may be all that they know. And I say I'm toying with this because recently, my mom and I actually started talking and we had a phone conversation. And at first I was like, this is weird, but I can't lie. It did feel good to at least have a conversation and just be on the phone because that hadn't happened in so long. And so it really challenged me to just keep growing in this area because the apology piece I struggle with. I think I talked about it on in the episode where I talk about childhood trauma, but I've been struggling with that one, okay? But the forgiveness is what allowed me to say, you know what? I'm going to welcome this conversation because maybe this is her way of apologizing and wanting to establish a relationship. And then you know what? It also showed me that I can still do hard things. So for the longest, I did not want to do any more hard things when it came to this mommy-daughter relationship. I was over it. I was sick of it. Just over it. Honestly, I think that's the best way to put it. It had drug on for so long, and I really had to find a way to move on with my life. But welcoming this new perspective showed me, girl, you still a beast. You can still wake up and do hard things. And then I'll say it has become my way of operating out of grace always and with all people. It's the craziest thing. I don't want to say I was an impatient person, but many years ago, my patience was thin and I really didn't have time for nobody else's BS because I had my own BS going on, right? But this dynamic with my mom has allowed me to see people in just new ways. I give grace all the time. I don't want to say I always see the good in people because some people are still crazy and still shady, but I do my absolute best to just operate out of a place of grace because I also need grace and I have people who extend me grace. So it's been crazy, but it's really been worthwhile. I tell people when I talk about the situation that no day is the same, and day to day, month to month, year to year, the feelings change, and then you grow a lot, and then sometimes you feel like you aren't growing. But the most important thing is that you don't give up. And so if you are a classmate who has a strange, dysfunctional, just what the heck is going on with my relationship with my mom, and especially if you are a girl, or maybe I should have said that at the top of the show, if you are a girl, I feel you. You are not alone. Just keep pressing. It will get better. And know that you define what better looks like. If better is no connection, no phone calls, don't text me, none of that, that's okay. Don't let other people who have never been in your shoes tell you what better is. You know what? Let's talk about that for a quick little minute. There have been so many people who think they have similar situations just because maybe their mom and them had an argument and they didn't talk for 2 days, or I don't know. They just think they have similar situations when I know and they know deep down there's no comparison. Don't let those type of people sway you one way or another. Not to say that they're not operating out of love and wanting the best for you, but they just simply do not know. Now, there's a difference between people who, give you sound, objective advice just because they care about you as a human being and they're not trying to compare what their situation is. That's cool. I welcome that all day, especially like people in my close circle. But those who try to do the comparison, I be looking at them like, girl, please save it. And I'll be wanting to say that. And sometimes I have said it, in a nice way, like, I hear you, but this isn't the same. This is not the same. So thank you, but no thank you. So just a little tidbit there. Do what you have to do for you and don't feel like you have to make decisions based on what other people's situation is and all the things. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Do what's best for you. And if you don't know what's best for you right now, do nothing. It'll all work itself out. I was at that place before where I just was like, I don't know if I want this to happen. I don't care. It's just a big mess of a dynamic, but it all ended up working out like it should have for the time being. And it's still working itself out. There's no guarantee that anything will come out of the situation now. And I'm okay with that as well. Once you allow time to do what time does, heal all wounds, and you grow and all the things, you just have this perspective that it is what it is. And I know we say that about a lot of things in life, but with this type of relationship, when pain is in it and hurt and disappointment and all the things, it truly has to be what it's going to be. Remember, you're not by yourself. Do what's best for you. You got this. All right, before we get out of here, you know what time it is. It will not be the school of life without some homework. This week, I didn't want to do anything too crazy because I'm like, this was already enough to unpack. All I want you to do this week, especially as we're going into Mother's Day in the weekend, is think about giving your mom some grace. Okay, you just think about it. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to take that big leap because that is a big leap. That's a big piece of homework, if I must say so myself. But just think about what grace looks like for you and your mom. Like I said, for me, it was imagining that I was 19 and had to make that type of decision. For you, it may be something else. So think about what that grace looks like. And if you are bold enough, go ahead and extend that grace and just see how it goes. See how your heart starts to feel after that. And then, as always, y'all know this is forever homework. Leave me a voicemail. I would love to hear from you if you want to talk about, this grace extension. If you just want to let me know where you're listening from, I am here. The voicemail is open. It is schooloflifepodcast.com, also linked in the show notes. All right, friends, that wraps up another episode of the School of Life podcast. As always, I hope you learned something new or gained some sort of new life insight because that is why this podcast exists. Listen, we're all in this together. Strange mommy-daughter relationships and all. Keep fighting, keep pushing, keep evolving. Talk to you soon.
Gotta pay these student loans. That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting, moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting, I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, 'cause these bills got me in trouble.